Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quinton here, and this is tutorial number 38. And in this tutorial we are going to continue looking at part 5 of our basic website layout mini-series. Okay, so hopefully you guys watched the previous videos. Hopefully you've got pretty much all of this code, and if you guys can remember correctly, we actually left off with the web that looked kind of like this. So we had our logo, the bar, all the stuff, and this really ugly border all around here. So one thing I want to do is get rid of this border and continue working on the page. But there is also one mistake that I made in the previous video, which I just want to correct real quick. So go over to CSS, and over here where I've set the header, nav, article, section and footer tags to be displayed as block, one tag that I forgot about was our aside tag. So we just need to go ahead and take care of that aside, and now that should be displayed as a block as well. Like I said, most newer browsers will actually treat these tags as blocks, but if you come across an older browser, it might not treat them as older blocks. As a block. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Now the next thing I wanted to do was actually get rid of this border, and if we save that now and go over to Firefox and click refresh, we've got that ugly looking border disappearing. Okay. So the one thing that we need to get done in this video is get this navigation moved over to appear next to our logo, because right now, being underneath the logo isn't really that interesting, and it would be nice if we could float all of these actual links next to each other so that it would appear home, about, tutorials and contact, instead of them all being underneath each other. Okay, so to do that we're going to go back to Notepad++, and I'm going to open up my header tag over here, and underneath my image, or actually in my image tag rather, not underneath it, I'm going to give this a class, and I'm going to give this a class of logo. Then I'm also going to go to my nav tag over here and give this a class, and I'm going to set this class equal to top underscore nav, because this is our top nav. And I'm going to leave the rest of these things. But now let's see if we can actually get this nav appear next to our logo. So go back over to CSS, and we'll select that picture or that image with the class of logo. And I'm going to give that a width of whatever our image width was. So if I open up this over here, there's my image, and I can see that my dimensions are 232 by 100. So let's give that a height of 100 pixels and a width of 232 pixels. Okay, and then I'm going to float this to the left, and the same thing for my nav. Let's go ahead and grab that class. Okay, and top nav. Okay, and I'm going to float this left as well, but I need to figure out now how much space do I have for my navigation, because we've given our website or our container a total width of 1000 pixels. Now I have my logo over here taking up 232 pixels. So 1000 minus 232, my math probably isn't that great right now, so let's open up my calculator, and let's see, 1000 minus 232 is equal to 768. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a width of 768 pixels, and I guess some of you could probably have done that in your heads, and you're probably shouting at your screen right now because I used the calculator. But hey, so now let's go ahead and actually run this in Firefox. So click refresh, and now we have our image and our actual navigation floated next to each other, but we also have this header kind of wrapping around the image, so we want to get rid of that now. And to do that, I'm going to go over to my header over here, and I'm going to actually place in an empty div. So I'm just going to give this a div, and I'm going to end that div off, and it's going to be an empty div, but I'm going to give this div a class of clear. Now go back to CSS, and over, I'm not actually sure where to put it, but I'm going to put it up here maybe with the rest of the stuff, kind of default stuff. So actually no, let's put it just over there, just right there. Hey, okay, so select that class of clear, and we will just give this an attribute of clear both, and what that's going to do is force this header over here to stop wrapping around the floated image and actually appear where we want it to down here. So look at that. Now we have our logo and our links appearing next to each other, but our links are still one on top of the other. So let's try and see if we can get them to display next to each other. And there are two different ways we can do this. The first way is to go over to our top nav tag over here, but we're going to select it with child elements. So top nav, and then we want these list elements over here to actually display next to each other. So we need to grab these list elements. Okay, so well, let's go back to CSS over here, top nav ul li, and what that's going to do is grab all list items inside of a unordered list inside of the navigation, and then we're going to go ahead and style those. And I keep minimizing Notepad++ when I still want to work in it. So let's just indent over here, and we can do this in two different ways. So like I said, we can float these all left, so just like that, float left, and click refresh, and as you can see, they're now all floated one next to the other, right next to each other. There's absolutely no space between them. So if I zoom in, you can see there's no space between them. Now the second way is actually going to leave a little bit of space between them. So if I go back to Notepad++, and instead of saying float left, I say display inline block, like this. Okay, that's going to make them all appear one next to the other, but as you can see, there's a little bit of space between each link. So if you guys want to do it that way, you can do it that way, or you can float them left and actually give them some padding, and that's actually what I prefer to do. So I prefer to say float left, and then I actually prefer to give them a padding, so a padding of 15 pixels and 20 pixels will do, and that means that there's going to be 15 pixels of padding on the top and 20 pixels of padding on the left and the right. But for some reason this isn't actually going to make the links move down. Well, it actually did, but not that much. Okay, so to actually center these things or get them to be pushed further down, we're probably just going to have to increase the padding on the top and the bottom by a little bit. So let's make that 25 rather than 15. But of course this is all, just playing around. So click refresh, and it's now moved slightly further down, but still not quite the center just yet. So probably about 30, I'd say maybe 35 should actually do this. It might even push it a little bit too far, but oh, that's actually perfect. So now we have our links actually centered with the logo, but if you want them all the way down to the bottom, then I guess you could just play around with the padding until you got it perfectly. But I'm going to leave mine right there where they are. And I'm going to end the video right here. And in the next video, we'll take a look at how to get our aside section appear next to the actual main content of the web page. So that's what you guys have got to look forward to, and I will see you guys in the next video. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, or share, and I'll see you guys next time.